Hello and welcome to Phoenix TV. Great to have you here. In this episode, we dive deep into the hidden costs of people pleasing, the silent habit that drains confidence, fuels burnout, and keeps you from living authentically. We'll uncover why so many of us fall into the trap of always saying yes, even when it means sacrificing our own needs. You'll learn how to spot the subtle signs of people-pleasing behaviour and what it really stems from and how to start breaking free. With practical strategies and empowering insights, this episode will help you set healthy boundaries, reclaim your voice, and stop living for approval so you can start living for yourself. Hi, I'm your host, Corinne Brown, Leadership Results Coach. Welcome back. Today we're diving into something so many of us struggle with, people pleasing. On the surface, it looks like kindness, generosity, or being a team player. But underneath, people pleasing can leave you drained, resentful, and disconnected from your true self. This episode is your guide to breaking the cycle, setting healthy boundaries, protecting your energy, and thriving in a world that constantly asks for more. Let me explain why we people please. People pleasing isn't just about being nice. It's about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of letting someone down. Many of us learned early that love or approval had to be earned. So we say yes, even when every fibre of our being is screaming no. But here's the truth. Every time you betray yourself to keep others happy, you teach your brain that their needs matter more than yours. That pattern over time erodes confidence and leads to burnout. Here's how to spot those signs. You say yes when you want to say no. You feel anxious when someone is unhappy with you. You apologize a lot, even when it isn't your fault. You feel resentful but stay silent. And you put everyone's needs ahead of your own every single time. Do any of these sound familiar? If they do, you're not alone. And the good news is you can unlearn this. So what can we do to break the barriers to free ourselves from people pleasing? And what's the psychology wiring behind it? Before we talk about how to stop people pleasing, let's get honest about why we do it in the first place and why it can be so hard to change. For many of us, people pleasing is survival wiring. Growing up, we may have learned that love, safety, or approval depended upon keeping others happy. Maybe you had to be the good child to avoid conflict, or the peacemaker in a chaotic home. Over time, your brain connected pleasing others with staying safe. That wiring doesn't just disappear in adulthood, it becomes your default. Let's take a look at my top 5 barriers that keep people pleasers stuck. Barrier number 1, the fear of rejection. We worry that if we say no, people will pull away, they'll judge us or stop valuing us. That fear keeps us overcommitted and underfulfilled. Barrier number 2, our identity is being tied to being the helper. For many people pleasers, helping isn't just about them, what they do, it's who they believe they are. Saying no feels like betraying that identity. Barrier number 3, the avoidance of conflict. People pleasers often equate conflict with danger. A disagreement feels unsafe, so they bend over backwards to avoid it. Barrier number 4, the guilt conditioning. From childhood, we're often told, don't be selfish, be nice, do the right thing. That conditioning wires us to feel guilty any time we put ourselves first, even when it's the healthiest choice. And barrier number 5, the validation loop. People-pleasing provides short-term relief. Someone praises you, says thanks, or sees you as reliable, and your brain releases a little dopamine hit. But it's a cycle. The approval feels good, so you keep repeating the behaviour, even though it's draining you long term. The key is recognising that these barriers are not flaws. They're old survival strategies. They once protected you, but today they keep you small. When you understand that you're not broken, just wired to protect yourself in outdated ways, you can finally start rewiring. So the question remains, why do we wire to please? Let's take a deep dive into the neuroscience behind people pleasing. Here's something that's really important. People pleasing isn't weakness, it's wiring. Our brains are actually designed to keep us connected to others, because for most of human history, belonging was survival. If you were rejected by your tribe thousands of years ago, it could literally mean death. So our brains evolved to protect us from disapproval, from conflict, or from rejection. That ancient wiring is still alive and well today. The brain in people-pleasing mode, well, the amygdala is the fear center. When you sense someone might be upset, your amygdala, the brain's fear alarm, lights up. It signals danger, even if the danger is just someone being disappointed. This is why you may feel panicked at the thought of saying no. It's your survival brain overreacting. The prefrontal cortex, known as the rational brain, this is the part of your brain that makes logical decisions, but under stress, the amygdala can hijack it. That's why in the moment you might blurt out yes automatically, even when you know it's not what you want. Then there's the reward system, dopamine loop. Every time you please someone and they respond with approval like, "Thank you, you're amazing," your brain releases dopamine, the feeling good chemical. That tiny hit rewards the behaviour, making you more likely to repeat it. It's like a slot machine for approval. Mirror neurons. They're the empathy amplifiers. We also have mirror neurons in our brain that makes us feel other people's emotions. When someone is disappointed, you don't just notice it, you feel it. That discomfort drives people pleasers to fix the situation by saying yes. The nervous system response. Well, people pleasing is also a nervous system strategy. It's called fawning, a stress response just like fight, flight, or freeze. Instead of fighting back or running away, you appease. You smooth things over to keep the peace, which calms your nervous system temporarily. The problem is, over time, this pattern erodes your sense of self. And here's the reframe. When you catch yourself saying yes against your will, it's not because you're broken. It's because your brain is trying to keep you safe. But here's the good news. The brain is plastic. With awareness and practice, you can rewire those patterns. You can train your nervous system to feel safe saying no. You can create new reward loops where self-respect, not approval, becomes your dopamine hit. Understanding the neuroscience helps us to let go of guilt. You're not weak, you're human. But now that you know how your brain is wired, you can start rewiring. And that's where freedom begins. Beyond the brain, there's the body. People-pleasing is also a nervous system stress response where you smooth things over to feel safe. Now let's take a look at the nervous system stress response to people-pleasing. When we think of stress responses, most people know fight, flight, or freeze. But there's the fourth one that we spoke about earlier, often overlooked, fawn. Fawning equals appeasing or people-pleasing as a way to stay safe. When your nervous system senses conflict, rejection, or disappointment, it can interpret it as danger, even if no real threat exists. Instead of fighting back or running away, your body tries to keep the peace. You may say yes when you mean no. You may over-apologize or smooth things over. In that moment, people-pleasing calms your nervous system. It reduces the immediate stress response and makes you feel safer. And here's the catch. Over time, this pattern erodes self-trust. Your body learns that safety only comes from self-abandonment. This keeps you stuck in a loop of stress, guilt, and resentment. There is good news though. The nervous system is trainable. With awareness, breath work, grounding, and practice saying small no's, you can retain your body to feel safe without fawning. This builds resilience, it restores confidence, and it breaks the cycle of people pleasing. Here are some of my tips and tricks for setting boundaries without guilt. Tip number 1, the pause button. When someone asks you for something, pause before answering. Instead of saying yes immediately, try saying, "Let me get back to you on that." This gives you space to check in with yourself. Do you really want to do this, or are you just avoiding discomfort? Tip number 2, the power of a neural no. No doesn't need an essay. Keep it short and kind. You could say something like, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit right now." Or, "I don't have the dedicated time for this, but I appreciate you asking." Notice how these statements leave no guilt, no over-explaining, just clarity. Tip number 3, redefine kindness. True kindness isn't about self-sacrifice. It's about honesty. By setting boundaries, you're giving others permission to do the same. And that creates healthier, more respectful relationships. Tip number 4, guilt reframe. Here's a reframe. Guilt isn't proof you've done something wrong. It's just proof you're breaking an old habit. Sit with it, breathe through it, and remind yourself, I'm allowed to protect my energy. Protect your energy equals protecting your sanity. When you stop people pleasing, something magical happens. You reclaim your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Instead of running on empty, you show up fully charged for the things and people that truly matter. Protecting your energy doesn't make you selfish. It makes you sustainable. It allows you to thrive in a relentless world, to create space for joy, creativity, and purpose. And isn't that the life you deserve? Here's a call to action. Your challenge for this week: say one honest no. Not an excuse, not a half yes, but a clear, kind, unapologetic no. Notice how it feels. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, but over time, it will feel liberating. People pleasing may be old wiring, but you have the power to rewire. Protect your energy, protect your sanity, and watch yourself thrive. My closing reflection. Here's something to ponder as you go about your week. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you abandon a little piece of yourself. But every time you choose honesty, no matter how small, you reclaim that piece. What would your life look like if you stopped living for approval and started living for truth? That's where freedom begins. Here are 4 of my personal reflections for contemplation. Reflection number 1, the self-respect lens. Imagine if you treated your own needs with the same respect you give to others. How much energy, joy, and peace would return to your life if you made yourself a priority, not an afterthought. Reflection number 2, the authenticity lens. Every time you people please, you wear a mask. What would happen if you set the mask down and showed up as your authentic self, even if it meant not everyone approved? Who might you become? Reflection number 3, the energy lens. Think of your energy as currency. Where have you been overspending on others at the cost of yourself? And what could you build if you invested that energy back into your own growth, your own dreams, and your peace of mind? Reflection number 4, the legacy lens. When you look back years from now, do you want to remember a life spent keeping everyone else comfortable? Or a life where you stood in your truth even when it was uncomfortable? Which story will you be proud to tell? These reflections are designed to make you pause, self-assess, and carry the insight forward. Remember, every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to yourself. Protect your energy, protect your sanity, and watch how much more powerful, present, and fulfilled you become. Thank you so much for your company today. It has been an absolute pleasure having you here. Until next time, remember, a life lived for approval is a life half lived. Start living for you. I'm Corinne Brown. Catch you on the flip side.